Yes, welcome to our YouTube channel, dear students. So, in the last class, we were discussing about introduction to English literature. In that, we are already discussed about the periods of English literature from the Old English to a Restoration period. Till that, we already discussed that the literary periods in English literature. I am Dr. Prashant Mandre. I have completed MA, PhD, KSET, and even I have cleared the UGC NET examinations. So, dear students, for especially English literature, we all know that it is a very vast area is there. It is very difficult to complete the syllabus within some of a time. But what we have to do? We have to do a very systematic study. So, we have to go thoroughly about the periods, thoroughly about the writers and their works. If you are working like that, definitely we can do anything. Okay, definitely you will get that. And English literature is very interesting topic where you can learn and you can get more knowledge. You know, if you are reading variety of works, variety of stories, variety of poetry, when you are getting, you will get an immense literature in this process. Okay, so in the introduction, we have already discussed English, Old English period, Anglo-Saxon period, that is started from 450 to 1066. After that, from 1066 to 500 period, it is called as a Middle English period. And who are the writers we already discussed in the last class. We can watch that class, it is there in a YouTube. Okay, from 1660 to 1500 Middle English literature. After that, from 1500 to 1660, that is called Renaissance period, where in that period we are already seen there are very important periods comes, especially 1558 to 1603 Elizabethan age is there, and 1603 to 1625 Jacobean is there, and 1625 to 1642, that is age called as the Carolean age, or Cavalier writers come this in this period. Okay, and from 1642 to 1660 Commonwealth period, or it's a Puritan period it has called. These are the very important periods where there are very important writers are there in this particular period. We can go thoroughly. Okay, and after that there is a Elizabethan age where the rich, and it is that age is called as a very great thing. And after that there is another period is called Jacobean period, where that has been started, and we can see the Commonwealth period, that is also known as the Puritan age there. Oliver Cromwell is very important figure in that period, and even from 1600 to 1785, that is called as a Neoclassical age. You know, Neoclassical age and age is from 1660 to 1785. Okay, and even we already discussed this in the last class, Restoration period, how it happened. But today we are going to discuss about the Restoration period, and after that Augustan period. See, in the last class we have discussed that Restoration period has started from 1660 to 1700. It is marked by the Restoration period. It is a restoration of monarchy. You know, Charles II came back from the France here, and he became a king of England. So that's why the monarchy has been restored. And even after that, we have started they have restarted the theatre. Theatres were banned on that time from 1642 to 1660, you must remember that. And after that, there are many important writers and great writers he came in this particular period. It is about the John Milton. He wrote wonderful poetry, especially Paradise Lost. It is one of the greatest epic in the world. In only existing English epic is Paradise Lost. There are many writers who try to write epics, but they have failed in that period. So even there are other writers came, John Dryden, John Wilmot, Earl Rochester, and John Locke. John Locke is very important because he is writing about understanding of learning. Understanding of a learning, he read about the education, the value of education, and how the people are understanding. He compares mind with a slate there. So whatever he will write, whatever the society is teaching them, and they are taking on it. It is a very important aspect. We can see that. And after that, this age is very important. Augustan age. It is started from 1700 and 1745. There are only one major writer is there in this period, who is Alexander Pope, one of the greatest satirist in the English literature, who has with the literature predominant characteristics of refinement, clarity, elegance, and balance of judgment. See, the literature is developed here. How it has been developed. Even your student, we can see that well-known writers of Augustan period include Jonathan Swift. Jonathan Swift, one of the greatest writer, we know that. So what he has written? He has written Gulliver's Travel. I hope you have remember when you are a child, you used to watch Gulliver, who was a very big man. So like that, he has written a variety of works there. Even he started to write on novels in the beginning. You know, he is the pioneer of Anbodo. After that, Alexander Pope, one of the greatest satirist of that period, who has written on various topics and other things. And even the Daniel Defoe. Robinson Crusoe is one of a very, very important novel of English literature. There he has written the travelogue. He is writing about Robinson Crusoe. It is a very important thing. A significant contribution to this period is including the novels by Defoe. Nodri, here they have started the novels. Novel has started in Augustan period, dear students, you must remember this. Novels, till Restoration period, we have only poetry, drama and prose. So here in this period they have started the novel, and the novel of a character, Pamela. Pamela is the first novel in English literature published in 1740. In 1740, Pamela is considered as the first official novel of English. Full length novel is written by Samuel Richardson. Okay, there are many wonderful writers came and they have written writing about that ideas. So that's why here there are four wheels of a novelist came. Okay, Richardson, Samuel Richardson, and Samuel Beckett, Lawrence Sterne. There are very four important writers are there who are writing on poetry. Sorry, novel. They have started the novels here. So after that, during this period, sensibility literature reflects the worldwide of enlightenment and began of emphasizing instinct and feeling rather than the judgment and restrainment. It is the age of sensibility. The sense is very important. You just read Pamela, you just read Clarissa, you read Lawrence works, you read other greatest works of this period. They are all writing about sensibility. Even the Samuel Johnson came in this period. He was writing about, he has written biographies, he has started their own journals. You know, in this period only journalism is also introduced. Journals came, Joseph Edison and another writer is there, who both have started Tatler and another one, Spectator magazine, journals. There they have all writing. One is for Tories and one is for Whigs. Two political parties were there. They have supporting them. They are writing about them. Even in this period, coffee shops has been started. Their political development happened. Even the England expanded his wings all over the world. They are all start ruling Africa, Asian countries, and they have all getting the knowledge. Even John Dryden has written a novel on Aurangzeb, sorry, drama, Aurangzeb. See, so such wonderful works has been introduced in this period, and they have an emphasis on the instinct and feeling rather than the judgment and restraint. And another name of this period is the age of Johnson, because of his dominant age of Johnson anta karitivaru now. One of the greatest writer, Samuel Johnson, who has written a very, very wonderful works. He has started 2 magazines. He has written in what is that dictionary of English history. More than 40,000 words he has written in that, and from 1755 to 1749 to 47 to 55, I think. Okay, in 1755 it has been published, and he has got immense respect from the others. So that's why it is a very, very important period where there are other writers, including Richardson's Clarissa. It's a very, very important novel. And Henry Fielding's. Notice there are 4 novelists I told you. One is Richardson. Okay. Another is Henry Fielding. Another is Samuel Lawrence and Smollett. There are 4 writers are there. Okay, Smollett. They are very, very important thing. These are the very important writers, and they are all writing about the things. Okay.
So that's why this period is very, very different. Why? Because the novel has been introduced, journals has been introduced. There are Thomas Gray and other writers came who are writing on variety of things. You know, they are all writing in a very, very different ideas and thoughts. So that's why this period is become more important for, especially for English literature students. It's very, very important because journals, great novels, especially Alexander Pope has written one work called his very great satire, The Rape of the Lock, as he has written, and Dunciad, translation of Iliad and Odyssey, as very, very important. These are the very important works they have written in this particular period. So that's why, dear students, we must aware of these ideas. We must see, you know, in by period wise, I will take a class, don't worry, but you should remember these works. This you should remember these ideas. Okay, and after that, the romantic period has been begun in the 18th century. You know, after this period, romantic period from 1785 to 1830, especially consider 1898 to sorry 1798 to 1837, that particular age it has been started, because in 1798 lyrical ballad has been published. This is one of the greatest work written by Wordsworth and Coleridge. Though all writing, it has changed the approach of a literature. It has changed the system, structure, focus, subjects, objectives of a poetry. Everything has been changed here, dear students. So that's why this age is very, very important period. Why? Because the poetry has developed like anything here. Even in this before period only, the Gothic literature has been introduced in 1772 to 1900. There are many Radcliffe and other writers, they are followers of her, they have written Gothic literature. And in 1793, there is Mary Wollstonecraft. She has written The Vindication of Rights of Women. It is about a woman education. She is not opposing a man there, but she is writing about a woman's education. So after that, this comes, and this is influenced by French Revolution. Wordsworth has influenced by that. He came back and they have written, Wordsworth and Coleridge have written a wonderful work called Lyrical Ballad. In 1798, it has been published. There are 23 poems they have published in that particular book, and it's become more important. In 1800, they have written a preface for that. There they have writing how to write a poetry. They have focused on individuality. They have focused on nature. They have focused on their own emotions and feeling. That's why he said that. You know what Wordsworth has said here. What is poetry is? Poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. Dear students, what is poetry? Poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings which turn into a tranquility. So this is the very important. So that's why here the poetry has developed like anything. Poetry is get that. A very small man, a very small flower is there in England that is called daffodils, and it has written there. They are writing a poetry on daffodils. They are writing a poetry on a very young girl who is working in a farm. So such poetry. And Kubla Khan came, who are writing on supernatural things. Coleridge, one of the great writer, Kubla Khan, Ancient Mariner. He is also writing in a very different ways. P.B. Shelley, John Keats, Lord Byron, Walter Scott, Charles Lamb. There are many writers. First generation, second generation writers are there. They are focusing on different things. We will discuss about that while you are discussing about period wise, about a writer wise also I will discuss that things. So here they are writing. The lasted until approximately 1830. Romantic literature can be characterized as personal nature. Their personal ideas are there. It's strong use of feelings and symbolism. The feelings become very important, and the exploration of nature and the supernatural things. The writing of the romantics were considered innovative based on their belief that literature should be spontaneous, imaginative, personal, and free. It is very important. Nodri, the literature or a poetry should be spontaneous. Spontaneously you should write something on that things. And imaginative things, fancy and imagination work is there written by Coleridge, and he has written everything. What is the importance of primary imagination and secondary imagination? What is the importance of that things? And personal feelings, personal ideas, personal way of writing. And another thing is it has to be free from all the things. And even the Romantic period produced a wealthy of author include Samuel Coleridge, William Wordsworth, Jane Austen, Lord Byron, P.B. Shelley, John Keats, Lord Byron. There are many important writers are there, very wonderful writers. Even William Hazlitt comes in this period only. He is writing about the essays. Prince of essayist ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ. He is the prince of essayist. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? So such wonderful writers were there, and even after this it is a very small period. Why? Because in 1837 Victoria became a queen of England there. So that's why suddenly this age has been stand. Even Jane Austen and George Eliot, they have started a very wonderful novels. Jane Austen novels are writing on the social problems, social things, what's going on in that England period. Even her Sense and Sensibility, Pride and Prejudice, Persuasions, Emma. You know, you should read all that novels. They are wonderful novels written by Jane Austen there. Wonderful, he has written wonderful novels. You have to read that. And other works of Coleridge, William Wordsworth, you know, Prelude. Such a wonderful work he has written after this. And even Lord Byron, P.B. Shelley, John Keats, and another Robert Southey, one of a very important writer. There are two generations comes in this. First generation, Wordsworth, Coleridge and Robert Southey. In the second generation, P.B. Shelley, John Keats and Lord Byron. There are two generation writers are there. They are all writing a very, very wonderful, wonderful work. The poetry has developed here. They have written a very, very greatest works. So that's why this period is very, very important, dear students. You must read. We must be focused on that, and there are plenty of questions has been asked in a KCET and NET examinations, and you should be more aware and more cautious while you are reading about these writers, their lines, their poetry, their works, their ideas, their imaginative, their writing skills. Everything is different, everything is great. So that's why they become that. But unfortunately, this period has ended very early. Why? Because for the development of industrialization, the wars, what is happening between France and England, England with the other countries, and the political instability, all the things. So that's why it has been changed, and suddenly it has changed. But here it was during the Romantic period, the Gothic literature was born. Traits of Gothic literature is the dark and gloomy settings and characters and situation that has fantastic, grotesque, wild, savage, mysterious, and often melodramatic. Two of the most famous Gothic novelists is Anne Radcliffe and Mary Shelley. Mary Shelley, Frankenstein anta one work. This is a very wonderful work, Frankenstein. And Anne Radcliffe has written wonderful works. You have to read these works, and I will explain that all the ideas. From 1837 actually, she became a king, but it has been started there only. From 1837 to 1902, I think, that is period as called as the Victorian period, one of the best great period of novels. This is the age of novels. You just remember that. Why? Because they are all writing on social problems, social things, how it is going on. And even, 1848 to 16, pre-Raphaelite movement comes. Pre-Raphaelites, it's a very, very important period here. They have been influenced by paintings. They are start explaining the paintings, what is going on. There are Dizzy Rossetti, one of the very, very important writers. Swinburne is there. His sister Mrs. Rossetti is there. They have written a wonderful poetry where they are all writing on the imagination on paintings. Even John Ruskin has supported this on this periodically. So he is writing wonderful essays. Even after that, there are many other writers who are writing aestheticism. Aestheticism is very important. Oscar Wilde and Peter Walter, they have started this. They are writing on art for art's sake. Art for art's sake. They should not write on any other ideas. In that period only, they are all writing on what they are all writing. They are all writing on social. They are the problems of the society and all the things. But art is for art's sake. They said art, you have to use it in a different way. But in a Victorian period, what happened? They are all writing on social things, social injustice, problems, upper and lower classes. There is no power for middle class or lower class people, and they are all struggling. The industrial revolution is going on. 8 to 10 job has been started. People came there, and their labor has been started. Child labor has been started. Charles Dickinson, one of the greatest novelist of that period, who has written wonderful works, Tales of Two Cities, Hard Times. Like that, he is wonderful. David Copperfield, you must read that one work, where he has all writing about the problems of a man. social problems, upper and lower class, poverty, social injustice, economical differences, political, there is no any political contribution. So that's why such ideas were there in that time, they have all written. So this aestheticism and decades, the Victorian period began with the accession of Queen Victoria to the throne 1837 and lasted until her death 1901. Okay, in 1901 she died, and that's why the period has ended. Because of Victorian period span over 6 decades, the year of 1870 often used to divide the era into early Victorians and late Victorians. Nodri, it is a very lengthier period. Nodri, 1837 ಇಂದ 1901 ವರೆಗೂ ಒಂದೇ queen ರೀ, ಒಬ್ಳೆ, only one queen was ruling. And in this period you just know that how many countries they were ruling. They are ruling the countries like anything. So that's why this period is very important here for us. So where there is some, when she came to the throne, she has balanced that, the political stability came, the middle class people got the voting power, and even there are many strikes, reformation acts has been introduced, the education become compulsory to our people, they start giving education to women also in that time. Before there was not. See, in England also there is no education for England before. After that, when in a Victorian period only it has been started. So that's why, dear students, this period is very important. We must be aware of all these things, and there are many wonderful writers comes. George Eliot, Bronte sisters, Charles Dickinson, Thomas Hardy, D.H. Lawrence, and Thackeray, William Thackeray, and there are many novelists. Especially this is the age of novels. They have started wonderful novels. You must read Pride and Prejudice. You must read this Middlemarch. You must read this Tales of Two Cities, David Copperfield, Tess of the Arborville, Mayor of Casterbridge, Sons and Lovers. See how many wonderful works are there. Very Vanity Fair anta bariತಾರೆ. There is no novel without hero ante. Such great things has been written in this period. This is the period of novelists. ನೀವು ಮಾಡ್ರಿ, ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ಬ ರೈಟರ್ 10 periodical wise they are all writing. They used to publish in the newspapers, and every chapter wise they used to publish. People used to wait for that. Every week they used to stand in front of a shop to read that novel, what will happen. Based on the responses, sometime they used to write that. One novel consists 20-25 chapters. They used to write for years together, half month or years together, 2 years they used to publish that. So after that they compile and they used to publish. So that's why it's a very their writing skills, their imagination, their characters are very important. So that's why this period is very important to you as a English literature students. You must be more aware of these ideas. You must write about these things. You must read about these things. Okay, you take one novel and write it in your own way. So what is the analysis of that things? That is very important. So that's why, dear students, it is a very important period for us here, what we are all discussing. After this, in general, Victorian literature deals with the issues and problems of the day. Some of the most recognized authors of the Victorian era, including Alfred Tennyson, Elizabeth Barrett Browning and her husband Robert Browning, Matthew Arnold, Charles Dickinson, Charlotte Bronte, George Eliot, Thomas Hardy, very important. Nodri, they are Alfred Tennyson, Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Robert Browning and Matthew Arnold. They are the great poets of Victorian period. Nodri, greatest poetry. Alfred Tennyson has written a Lotus Eater, Ulysses, Princess anta ಒಂದು poem ಬರೀತಾನ್ರಿ. Okay, it is become more important on that time. He is writing on women education. ಆಮೇಲೆ Matthew Arnold, one of the greatest writer, who has written Culture and Anarchy, great work. Barrett Browning ರೀ, one of the greatest writer of that period, who has written Sonnets from Portuguese ಅಂತ ಬರೀತಾಳ್ರಿ. Aurora Leigh ಅಂತ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವರ್ಕ್ ಬರೀತಾಳೆ. But Sonnet from Portuguese, she is writing about her love towards Robert Browning, his lover. Robert Browning is the greatest writer of all the period. Poet, a great poet. Dramatic monologuesಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೀತಾನ್ರಿ, dramatic poemsಗಳನ್ನು ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪೋಯಮ್. ಯು ಮಸ್ಟ್ ರೀಡ್ ದಟ್ ಪೋಯಮ್. ಐ ಲವ್ ದಟ್ ಪೋಯಮ್. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ವೇರ್ ದ ಲವರ್ is not accepted his love, and his last wish is that come with me, it's the last ride together ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. He was going and he is writing such a wonderful poem, imagination, emotions are there in that poem antandre you will love it. So that is love anistada. So you have to read thoroughly about these things. And even after that, Charles Dickinson, I told you, one of the greatest novelist of all the time. He has written more than 14 novels. In that, David Copperfield, his autobiographical one. Okay, Tales of Two Cities is writing about the French Revolution and England, what happened there. Hard times you have to read. You have to read that, The Great Expectation. You just watch the movie in Hindi, that Aditya Kapoor, I think, who has did that movie with Katrina Kaif. You watch that wonderful movie, Fitur. Yeah, Fitur is a movie. So that's why these type of things you should work and you should read thoroughly. Okay, and this is the very important. And George Eliot, Middlemarch, you have to read. And in 1848, a group of English artists, including Dante Gabriel Rossetti, formed the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. The aim was written painting to a style that had regained a prayer to a Raphael and the high Italian Renaissance. Raphael is one of the greatest artist, painter. His ideas they have to came back. In this period, Mona Lisa painting was become very popular. That was smuggling that time. They want to, it was in a museum. Some people have tried to steal that. So that's why they have given much, for that they have all Englanders and other people wanted to see that painting, such wonderful painting. And Raphael and the other Michelangelo, some other painters, they have written wonderful paintings, and they are all analyzing here in a moment. And the high Italian, it is been influenced by Italian period. Rossetti and his literary circle, which includes sister Christina Rossetti, incorporated these ideas into their literature, and their result was that of the literature is Pre-Raphaelite. Pre-Raphaelite and barode because of this Raphael moments, because Christina Rossetti, A.V. Swinburne and Morris, D.G. Rossetti, Christina Rossetti, Swinburne and other writers were written about these ideas. And after that, the aestheticism came. And here, the movement encouraged the experimentation and held the view that art is totally opposed to the natural norm of morality. That there is no connection between morality and literature. The literature is not to tell about spirituality, devotional things, or any other thing for according to them. It is about the art for art's sake. The art, you should get pleasure first. After that, you should get the knowledge. But what happened in the Victorian period, they are all writing on the problems of the society. They are all writing of the injustice. They are writing about the economical imbalance, upper and lower class things were going on. So these are the main important parts. So what these people have said, art for art's sake. Write a wonderful poem and let them enjoy. People should read and they should enjoy. That is very important, they said. And even in this style of a literature, about dominance of scientific thinking. Scientific thinking is not important. However, you are talking about the technological development or scientific developments, which is not giving any pleasure or happiness. Just remember, dear students, comfort cannot give you a happiness. Comforts cannot give. You may be comfortable, but happiness comes from inner side. Happiness comes from what you did and how you will enjoy. You will enjoy if you are spending a quality time with your friend, you are enjoying that. That is happiness. You may don't have any bike, you don't have a car, you don't have any big things, but you are enjoying with him. You are roaming, you are talking, you are smiling. That is very important. But what happened in a modern world, comfort become very important. We start think, if you are buying a very good bed, you cannot buy a sleep. It's very difficult. You cannot buy happiness. It can give you a comfort, but it's very difficult. That's why these writers have said, art for art's sake. Let them enjoy. Let them enjoy the life. Happiness is very important. That is the idea. Art, you should enjoy that. Paintings, music, works. Write it in a way. And that is the thing. And even it was the form of movement of aestheticism and decadence, that is the praise for the art for art's sake. Art for art's sake, as well known as the author of English aestheticism, Dickinson's movement of Oscar Wilde and Peter Waiter. Peter Waiter and Oscar Wilde are the two very important writers. They have all writing on these ideas. And even after this period, end of a Victorian period, the modern period has been started. In the modern period, the first period comes from 1901 to 1940. That is called Edwardian poem. Why? Because Edward is become a king of England. Okay, Edward, after the death of a Victoria Queen, the Edward become a king. That's why King Edward VII king become a king. So that's why this age is called as the Edwardian period. The time of a Queen Victoria death. This period is very, very important, dear students. Just remember this thing. From that, there are scientific development happened. There are cold wars has been started in this period. Technological and industrial expansion has been happened. There are very, very important things, and it is impacting on the social life of human beings. Human beings affected by these things. Train has been introduced and popularized in this period. Radio has introduced, television has been introduced, the people's approach has been changed. So that's why this period is very, very important. And this is the beginning of World War. The World War has been started, dear students. World War created such a chaos in the people's mind, where the people start thinking about the nationalism, patriotism, their own country, their land, the soldiers become more important. So such ideas were going on. You know, Nim Desha antandre, how you are enjoying your own country, you are fighting for your own country. What is your views on the soldiers nowadays? No, soldiers antandre, you will love them. Why? Because we have created such things, patriotism, nationalism, it is very important. So that's why it's very, very important. And even the British Empire was at the heights and wealthy lived in the materialistic luxury, while 4/5 of the English population lived in the square. Nodri, materialistic luxury anna bala enjoy madidri in this, especially in this period. Especially in this period, they have been they have created they have built a Titanic. They felt that they have built an empire on the sea, and men said that I own the ocean because I have built a great thing on the ocean. So the Titanic was one of the best ship was made on the sea. But what happened? Suddenly we cannot go against the nature. That is very important. So that's why here they have said that there are many people have been things. So that's why it's a very, very, very important. So you should work on these things. And the writing of the Edwardian period comment these social conditions. Writers such as George Bernard Shaw, H.G. Wells attacked on the social injustice. George Bernard Shaw, one of the greatest writer, G.B. Shaw. That's the things. That's the idea. Okay, and you should be more aware of these things. Okay, George Bernard Shaw has written a wonderful work. Pygmalion anta ಒಂದು work ಬರೀತಾನೆ. That is a very, very, very important work where he has been published and he has been talking about the language, semiotics, ಎಲ್ಲದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೂ there's a social problems they are all writing. H.G. Wells is a science writer. Scientific novels he has been written, and even other writers including William Butler, W.B. Yeats, one of the greatest poet of that period, Joseph Conrad, he is all writing on South African things. He has written Heart of a Darkness. In reaction of that, Chinua Achebe called him as a racist. He's a bloody rapist. As such, he has written Rudyard Kipling, one of the greatest poet of England. He is the first Nobel laureate of England. Rudyard Kipling, because he has written If anta one poem baritandre, and another The White Man's Burden, he has written one poem. So why we are colonizing you anta one poem? Because of to give knowledge, not for ruling you antadi. So because of that only he got a Nobel Prize. I don't know why, but many critics said like that. He is writing about the imperialism. That's why it has been started. Henry James, he is the pioneer of psychological novels, and E.M. Foster, one of the greatest writers. Passage to India. It's a very important work he has written in this particular period, and this period is very, very, very important for us as a modern period. So after this, from 1910 to 1960, Georgian period. George V became a king of England in 1910, and from 1910 to 1936. Many writers of the Edwardian period continue to write during the Georgian period. This era has also produced the group of poets known as the Georgian poets. These poets, now regarded as a minor poets, were published in the 4 anthologies entitled Georgian Poetry, published by Edward Marshall between 1912 to 1922. Georgian poetry ends tends to focus on the rural subject matters and traditional in the techniques. And even in this period only, the wars, first world war has been started. There are many people came and the war poets came. Rudyard, even there is a one a great poet is there here in this particular period ಅಲ್ಲಿ, modern period ಅಲ್ಲಿ. He has written a very very wonderful works. ಬಹಳ ಒಂದು ಸೋಲ್ಜರ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪೋಯಮ್ ಬರೀತಾನ್ರಿ. ದಟ್ ಫೆಲೋ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ ಮೋರ್ ಪಾಪ್ಯುಲರ್ ಬಿಟ್ ರೈಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ಪೆಟ್ರಿಯಾಟಿಸಮ್, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. Even in from this modern period includes literature written since the beginning of World War I in 1914. Poets of period include Yeats, T.S. Eliot, Dylan Thomas, Seamus Heaney. Novelists like James Joyce, D.S. Lawrence, Virginia Woolf. Dramatists include Noel Coward and Samuel Beckett. They are the modern period. It's a very very lengthier period actually. There are many important critics. Hand in hand, literature with the literature, the criticism is also developed in this period. Okay, so that is important. Okay, T.S. Eliot, Dylan Thomas, Seamus Heaney is a Nobel laureate. W. Yeats, Nobel laureate. T.S. Eliot, Nobel laureate. Okay, so James Joyce, one of the great writers who has started Stream of Consciousness. D.S. Lawrence, the greatest poet of modern period. Because of his one of a drama, he left drama writing because of the his adult writing of one lady's Chattersey's Lover anta ಒಂದು novel he has written. For that it has been problematic, and he left novel writing and other things. So that's why it's become more important. And even the Virginia Woolf, one of the greatest writer, feminist, who has writing on stream of conscious technique also. Sorry. And even after that, dramatist Noel Coward and Samuel Beckett, one of he has started absurdity, absurd elements in the modern period and other things. There are many other things are there. Here in this moment only, new criticism has been started, structuralism is there, movement poets came, war poetry comes, stream of conscious technique, okay, social novels, psychological novels, scientific novels, absurd things, campus novels. There are many genres. It's a mixture of many things in this particular period. So we will go in thoroughly about when we start discussing about the period. Okay, that is very important. And even from 1945 to a present period, that is called postmodern period, following World War II. After the 1945, the world has been changed, dear students. Why man become selfish from this period? From 1945, the men felt that there is no guarantee of a life. Why? Because they don't know what happens in the next moment. What in on Hiroshima, how they have attacked on them. Suddenly they felt that something is happening. Something is going beyond our limitations. And that's why the absurdity has started. Meaninglessness, existential questions has been started. So absurdity is talking about the meaninglessness of a life. We don't know. We will born and we will die one day. And existential question, why we are here? What is the purpose of that? Political instability. Everyone wanted to get the political ideas. So that's why in this period is very, very, very important. Campus novel has been introduced. Absurdity has been introduced. Existentialism has been introduced. See, there are such very, very important ideas has been started in this period. So that's why this period is very, very important. Even American literature has been developed like many things. Nobel awards, Booker awards have been started in this period. So that's why many great writers came here. And the postmodern period was developed. Postmodernism blend literary genres and styles, attempts to break the free modernist forms. It has break all the modernist from free style has been started. Anything you can write. There you can write on social things, you can write on war, you can write on psychology, scientific, social problems, religious, spirituality, other thing. Many subjects and ideas has been started in this period. So that's why, dear students, it's a very, very important ideas. So there are any other things are there. I will discuss one by one from beginning to end till now. There are many periods are there from Old English to a postmodern period. There are many periods, many writers are there. We will go period wise. We will discuss about writers and their works, why that period is very important, and what are the characteristics of that period, and even hand in hand we will go through the literary criticism and how it has become popular in that time, what is poetics, what is imitation theory, mimesis, what is Hamartia, what is Anagrosis, what is Horace's ideas on ars poetica, what is Longinus sublime. So what are their ideas ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ hand in hand, one side we will go through the literature, another side will develop literary criticism. So that's why, dear students, it's a very very important periods are there. So we will work on that continuously. If you have any queries, anything, you can put a message here and we'll discuss about that matter. Okay, so from now in the upcoming videos are there on criticism and literatures. Just watch our videos. If you have liked that, please share and send to your friends who are preparing for competitive exam as well as NET and KCET examinations. Thank you very much, dear students.